Welcome back, class. Today we are looking at transformations of functions. In this lesson, we're going to be graphing a linear function, absolute value, cubic, cube root, square root, and quadratic. So we're going to be using this format to help us graph. Like the quadratic function, a is going to represent our scale factor. H is going to move our graph either left or right. Now I want you to think of H as a hypocrite, which means that you're going to do the opposite of what you see. K, on the other hand, will move our graph either up or down. And from what I've told you before, your K value will be kept. Let's look at some problems. Problem number 1. Graph the parent function f of x. Sketch the graph of f of x plus 2. We have f of x plus 2. That plus 2 is outside of the parentheses. That plus 2 represents our k value, which means that we're going to move our graph either up or down. But remember, we're going to keep the sign. Since we have a plus 2, this means that the graph is going to move 2 units up. So let's go ahead and pick 3 points from f of x. You can pick any 3 points you want on the line. I'll go with 0, 0, 5, 5, and negative 5, negative 5. So let's go ahead and move those points 2 units up. Let's start off with negative 5, comma, negative 5. 1, 2. 2 units up. 1, 2. And 1, 2. Now draw a line. Let's label our new line f of x plus 2. And I'll go ahead and highlight it as well. Let's move on to problem number 2. For problem number 2, we have a quadratic function. It says, given the parent function f of x equals x squared below, sketch the graph of f of x plus 4. So we know this is quadratic. And we have this plus 4 that's outside of our parentheses. That's our k value. With k we keep. And because it's plus 4, we are going to move our graph 4 units up. Now let's pick 3 points from f of x. I'll go with 0, 0, negative 2, comma 4, and 2, comma 4. Let's take those 3 points and move them 4 units up. Let's start off with negative 2, comma 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Now draw the graph, and I'll label it. So this is f of x plus 4. Let's move on. Problem number 3. Given the parent function f of x equals the square root of x below, sketch the graph of f of x plus 5. So this is a square root function because it's a half curve. We have the plus 5 that's outside of our parentheses. This represents our k value, and with k we keep. And because it's positive, the graph is going to move 5 units up. So let's pick 3 points from our graph. I'll go with 0, 0, 4, 2, 9, 3. Take those points and just move them 5 units up. Let's start off with 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now let's move 4, 2, 5 units up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's move 9, 3, 5 units up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Once you have the points, draw your half curve, your square root function. Label the graph, f of x plus 5. Moving on. Problem number 4. Given the parent function f of x equals x to the third below, sketch the graph of f of x minus 3. So this graph looks like a snake. This is a cubic function. We have the minus 3 that's outside of our parentheses. That's our k value. And this time it's negative, which means that the graph is going to move 3 units down. Let's pick 3 points from the curve. We have -1, -1, 0, 0, 1, 1. Now let's take those points and move them 3 units down, starting with -1, -1. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Now draw the graph and label f of x minus 3. You're getting the hang of this. Let's do 2 more. Given the parent function, f of x, sketch the graph of f of x minus 10. So this graph looks like a V, which means that this is an absolute value function. We have the minus 10 that's outside of our parentheses. That's our k value, which means that the graph is going to move 10 units down. It'll translate 10 units down. So let's pick 3 points from our graph and move the 3 points 10 units down. I want to go with 0, 0, -5, 5, and 5, 5. Let's move -5, 5, 10 units down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now let's move 0, 0, 10 units down. And let's move 5, 5, 10 units down. Here's our graph and label f of x minus 10. Let's look at our last graph. Given the parent function f of x equals the cube root of x, sketch the graph of f of x minus 5. So this looks like an S. We know that this is a cube root function. We have the minus 5 that's outside. That's our k value. That means that we're going to translate the graph 5 units down. So go ahead and pick 3 points from the graph and move the points 5 units down. I'll pick 0, 0, 8, 2, and -8, -2. Let's move -8, -2 5 units down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's move 0, 0, 5 units down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's move 8, 2, 5 units down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Draw the graph. So this concludes part 1 of our notes. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe.